Welcome, welcome, welcome. Episode 21 of the PISCOPOD. I am your host. My name is Sasha. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your continued support. And I cannot believe that I'm on episode 21. I know I say that every episode, but I'm saying it again. I still can't believe that I'm going through this and doing this and enjoying it as much as I do. I've been getting lots of positive feedback. Been making some new fans and some new friends. Got some new subscribers happening. So that is awesome. I appreciate all of your guys' support. If you guys are tuning in now and it's brand new to the channel, you can hit the subscribe button. I think it's on this side or it's down below or both places. Anyway, I just wanted to say welcome. Here we are, November 23rd. We are a stone's throw away from Christmas. I had the misfortune of spending the weekend out shopping, both for necessities and your regular Christmas fare, if you will, because the malls aren't going to. They're not going to get any emptier, that's for sure. And you can already see the craziness of the season. Now, to get right into it, we are still in crazy town on the planet. Germany has canceled their world famous they always throw a massive, and I remember growing up in Germany, Christmas was always a very special time of year. Lots of festivities, family, friends, markets, the whole nine yards. And of course, because of this mass infiltration of immigrants all across the Western world, we are already starting to feel the pangs of what I predicted was going to happen. I think on last week's episode, I mentioned how the German authorities were putting up what I call the diversity barriers. And it got to the point where I believe that they just canceled the whole Christmas market. And man, what do you say to that shit? It's hard not to be, for lack of a better word, it's hard not to be racist when you have a group of parasites invade your country and, and almost overnight, all of your traditions and all the values that you hold dear are either taken away from you through fear or through force. I mean, we see this going on all over the Western world. The UK it's fallen. I get people, I get trolls on my Facebook and they're like, "Oh, I live in such and such an area of the UK and it's not bad at all." And it's like, "Fuck, you're full of shit." We're seeing live videos almost daily about things that are happening down there. People getting arrested. The gentleman that got 3 months in jail for every word because he said, "Who the fuck is Allah?" So he got 18 months in jail. And this is in a country that literally brought Western civilization to the planet. Colonization, sure. Call it what you will. But, the reason that you are on your iPhone and enjoying, the freedom to be able to go out and do your calls to prayer are because of countries like England and the British Empire. There's, what's the saying? The sun never sets on the British Empire. Well, I hate to tell you Brits this, but the sun is setting on you. And I feel terrible about it. I feel terrible. Tolerance, what we've been gaslit into believing in. Oh, you got to turn the other cheek. You got to be tolerant. These people come from, different backgrounds and blah, 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 fucking blah. Horse shit. We are being invaded. And you just need to open your eyes and look around. And it's top down, trickle down economics, if you will. In the United States, Trump is in big trouble. I'm sure I'm going to get a few laugh emojis on that comment and stuff like that. But Trump is in big trouble. Big trouble. He's clearly a puppet for the Israeli government. I mean, that's not hard to see if you just have a close look at what's going on with him. You can tell when he's attacking people. Marjorie Taylor Greene, for all intents and purposes, I always thought of her as a wackadoo, but I never doubted that she was a die-hard America First congresswoman or politician before she was even a congresswoman. Definitely a die-hard America First. And I guess now that's racist in the freest country on the planet. I guess if you're America First, you're a racist. If you don't toe the line for Israel and Satan Yahoo, you're a racist. You can tell how bad things are because Trump is, basically on the fake news tour, telling all the legacy media outlets about how terrible of a congresswoman she was. He didn't think that she was too terrible when she was towing the line for him and rallying the troops to get him votes. He never said anything about the fact about how terrible of a congresswoman she is. But as soon as she criticizes Israel and the power that they have in American politics, well, that's a bridge too far. Massey, another congressman, same thing. He is criticizing the Trump administration or members of the Trump administration about their Israeli stance. And they're getting ass fucked over it. They really are. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I believe she came out publicly and she's resigning in January, I believe is what it was. And of course, Trump is denying that Israel controls the government. But I mean, you just need to open your eyes and have a look. Even my social media has been hammered with, I've been kicked off twice this past week for comments I've made against Islam and also against the Zionists and the Israeli government. Now, having said this, as I've mentioned to people that I've talked to, just because I'm anti-Israel and Netanyahu's government and his policies doesn't mean that I hate all Jews. And that's something that's being conflated quite a bit these days, that if you say anything about, the genocide that they're committing, well, then you're pro-Hamas and you're an anti-Semite. Well, that's horse shit. We are allowed to criticize. We're allowed to criticize foreign governments. And I'm going to continue to criticize these foreign governments. Kick me off the socials, whatever you wish to do. At this point, I really don't give a shit anymore. Because we need to stand up and we need to share the truth. The truth needs to be told, and we need to wake up as many people as we can to this truth. It's hard not to think that America is being controlled by a foreign entity when you have Huckabee welcoming a Israeli spy, Jonathan Pollard. If you've been following the news, yeah, he was 30 years he spent in the can for espionage. He was convicted. He was working for the American government. He sold tens of thousands of top secret documents to the Israelis, who then, now remember, you know, the narrative is Israel is America's greatest ally in the Middle East. So just keep that in mind. So this Pollard guy has sold tens of thousands of top secret classified information that surely caused American assets to lose their lives. And he sold this information to America's greatest ally in the Middle East, and who then turned around and sold it to the Russians, because that's what America's greatest allies do when they get top secret information that could harm their friends in the United States, is they sell it to the Russian dictators and stuff that were, you know, in a Cold War with the American government and with the American people. So yeah, so good old Huckabee welcomes this guy. We can't also forget that Netanyahu gave him the red carpet welcome when he landed back in Israel. And, but yeah, there's nothing to see here, folks. And the Trump administration has been, you know, what have we heard from them? Crickets. Nothing in regards to this. As a matter of fact, sources indicate that Huckabee didn't even let the administration know that he was having this meeting and welcoming this guy back to Israel with open arms, because he knew that it would cause major blowback. And lo and behold, it's causing major blowback. So, yeah, fuck, we're living in bizarro world, man. You don't know what to believe anymore. And, I mean, we're getting attacked from all different sides. Even here, I spent the weekend with the meatballs, you know, out at the farm. We got winter approaching. If I'm not mistaken, it's probably snowing outside as we speak. Today's podcast is going to be a little shorter because I have some tech issues that I'm going to deal with. So I was out on the weekend, and I actually went to get some underarm deodorant, and I ended up getting this baby. I got a new Mac Mini. My beloved MacBook Pro is going to be my B-rig. It has aged out, sadly. And I took it into the nerds at the Apple Store. And, of course, as predictable as it could be, they suggested, well, you should get a new one. And, you know, that was something that I was entertaining until an equal machine in the MacBook Pro version would have cost me in excess of $4,000. And I just was not going to drop $4,000 on a new MacBook Pro. So I talked to a friend who runs a big computer department at London Drugs, and if you ever need computer needs and stuff like that, tech needs, go see the folks at London Drugs, man, because those tech guys that work in that department, man, they're spot on, man. They're awesome. Anyway, so I was looking at the MacBooks and stuff like that at the store, and lo and behold, he's like, well, you know, if you want a better computer and you're okay with, say, a desktop version, you can get, you know, 3 times the computer for half the price and a super 30-inch monitor, da-da-da-da-da-da. So anyway, so that's what I'm going to be putting in the studio here in the next, the following week. So this is kind of my last podcast on Persephone, my MacBook Pro. Poor thing. Aged out. And I know I'm going to age myself, but man, you know, you would think that when you spend that kind of money, I think I paid like over $3,000 for it like years and years ago. I believe it's a 2017 or a 2018 or something like that. And I get it, you know, shit doesn't last forever anymore, but that's a hard pill to swallow when you go to replace it, and it's like, oh, that'll cost you as much as your first car. So anyway, so here we are. We, the wife and I, spent the weekend, like I said, out at the farm and played with the meatballs while we still had dry ground. Snow's a-coming. My friend, who has a place out in the Rockies here, was sending me doorbell footage because, of course, he's like residing now in the warmth of the Florida sun. And he was sending me doorbell footage. He sends me doorbell footage because when the shit is happening out at his place right out in the mountains, it's bound to hit us here in the foothills of the Rockies at any time. And it was nippy. Yesterday out at the farm, she was pretty nippy out. So here we are. Last run on Persephone. And I'm going to be putting the new rig in here the following week. And I'm hoping, well, I know it's way more powerful of a system that I'm running. And I'm going to be able to do all sorts of new stuff to kind of up the ability of my podcast here. I'm going to be able to put content on the screen when I'm talking about it. I'm going to be able to bring guests on. And I was able to do that on my MacBook Pro, but like I said, with some of the new software and platforms and stuff that I was running, it was getting kind of glitchy because of its age. And the nice folks at LD, where I bought the new machine, they kind of talked me off the ledge as to why that's happening. They say that the computers should last you about 10 years, and he says, but in reality, he says it's about 7. He says, so if you got more than 7 years out of it, which I did, he says you're laughing. So it's going to be my B machine. I'm going to keep it because I have all my music studio stuff on there, and I am going to use my new one basically for the time being as just my podcast rig. So that's pretty sweet. I'll be able to have guests on there. You'll be able to see the guests on the screen. And it'll just kind of open me up to a lot more content rather than my ranting and raving. But for now, for this episode 21, I'm going to continue to rant and rave. Spending the weekend out in the shops was a harrowing experience. I mean, anybody that's lived in and around Calgary at this time of year, to go into any of the major malls, Chinook Center, anywhere like that, and try to find a parking spot, pack a lunch. You're driving around for 40 fucking minutes before you find a parking spot. And then you got to bury everything that you purchased at other stores because you got the old car prowlers smashing windows and stealing everything that you bought. So it's a harrowing experience. My wife and I, we went to the Costco to do some Christmas shopping. We did that this afternoon, and I mean, after 15, 20 minutes, I had to get the hell out of there. I really did, because the crowds, the attitudes, the smell, it was nuts. It was nuts. It was like wall-to-wall people, and I'll be honest with you, it looked like little Kabul. I am flabbergasted when I go out into the malls that, I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. I'm a minority. I'm not even lily white. I'm Italian, for God's sake. So at best, I'm olive skin. I'm Italian German, so I'm olive skin / white. For you artists out there that mix colors, what happens when you mix olive, drab, and white? I guess it makes a lighter green. Anyway, I kid, I jest, but yeah, it was flabbergasting at how many ethnic people. And again, I don't have anything against people coming to Canada, America, if they want to integrate or assimilate. But they don't. They don't. They don't speak English. They don't give a shit. They're rude. And I just don't know how much longer this is going to go before the bow breaks. We got Carney on the world stage. He's a fucking joke. He went to Abu Dhabi. And what did he accomplish in Abu Dhabi? Nothing. They think he's a joke. He came back empty-handed. I actually compiled a list of all the meetings that he's had since he's been the prime minister of this country. And I've compiled a list to all the things that he's done in way of tariffs or trade deals or anything. And here it is. That's right. Fuck all. Zero. Nothing. He's a joke. As a matter of fact, world leaders are saying that this guy has zero experience in being a politician. He was actually recorded in one of his speeches in Abu Dhabi talking about how the wildfires and stuff in Canada are a result of climate change and, again, pushing his climate agenda, which is horseshit because many of the wildfires were known to be lightning strikes and or arson. Now, lightning strikes, is it climate change? Is it geoengineering? Because we know that stuff is going on now. We're finding out, this age of information, these little devices that you're watching me on and stuff like that, they are, they're a godsend to people like you and me that want to share information. But let me tell you, those people that pull the strings and control the power, they are panicking and doing everything in their power in order to censor this and eliminate that and curtail this. And it's happening everywhere, even in the good old free United States. Donald Trump was, roasted for calling a reporter a piggy. It's these little things. They distract you from this by pointing out this, and then meanwhile they backdoor something else in. Like I said earlier in the show, I think Trump is in trouble. I really do. He needs the Republican Party to remain intact and to remain behind him. And his feverish and weird pro-Israel stance is dividing the party. It's dividing the party so much that on that topic alone, Democrats and Republicans are uniting. And that is not something that they want to see. That is not something that they want to see. Even here, we have our premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith. She's a rock star. She was falafeling last week, but, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that she knows a little more than what some long-haired old bedshitter like me might know. But she has used the notwithstanding clause. So for my American listeners, it's kind of like a state veto, for lack of a better term. And she used this notwithstanding clause in order to shut down the fact that this horrendous gender ideology and this attacking kids. So basically, this notwithstanding clause, she is using it that teachers are no longer allowed to address students with their preferred pronouns without parental admission. What's the word I'm looking for? Without parental consent. Nothing wrong with that, I don't think. No. Same with gender affirming treatment. She's saying that doctors and stuff are not allowed to lop perfectly healthy body parts off of underage children without parental consent. Again, I don't find anything wrong with that. But wow, the woke crowd, they have unleashed this relentless smear campaign, and they fight dirty. And, it makes you wonder, what planet are we living on that giving parents the right to decide important things, like lopping off your genitals, is not something to be considered lightly. That's a life-altering decision. I mean, my God, if I was a kid, if my parents were all cool with, I wanted to be a pirate. Thank God they didn't let me lop off my leg and take an eye out, wearing an eye patch and a wooden leg with a parrot on my shoulder, because that's what I'd be podcasting with, fucking my parrot on my shoulder with an eye patch. And the woke crowd, Naheed Nenshi, that oily English cigarette, and you know what I mean by that, right? He's just out in full force. Oh, it's fascist, and she's a dictator, and she's like Trump 2.0, and this is the agenda that these people are pushing. And, us normal folks, we're the tolerant bunch, right? But what's the tolerance doing for us? Nothing. It has done nothing. Now that Alberta independence is, looming on the horizon as far as the referendum goes, well, now all of a sudden Skidmark Carney, he's talking about, oh yeah, we're gonna be in talks with Alberta. We're gonna get these pipelines going. We're gonna get these pipelines going all of a sudden. Now that's news, according to Legacy Media, to I think his name is Ebby in BC, because he's like, hey, I wasn't consulted about these federal talks with Alberta to get pipelines going. So, I personally think that Skidmark Carney, he's a charlatan, and he's a dirty fuck. So I don't believe a word that guy says. I think that he knows that, and he's frightened. Alberta, we pay a big, big chunk of money down east for zero representation. And he has Quebec now. Also, they've been doing it longer than Alberta. They've been fighting for separation. And a couple of years ago, they were almost at it. They were almost ready to separate. I think that they were like just a tiny bit shy. Otherwise, they would have already been an independent a republic. So I think he's panicking, because I would imagine the last thing that he wants on his Wikipedia page is that he single-handedly, him and that cockholster Justin Trudeau, that they single-handedly destroyed a sovereign country, a prosperous and sovereign country, ran it into the ground. But let me tell you, Alberta independence is not about Alberta leaving Canada. It's just that we refuse to go down with it, man. And Carney wants us to go down. Everything that he's doing wants us to go down. He was a puppet that was placed into power without an election. He used the CBC propaganda machine to orange Trump, he a bad man, he's a bad man, and I'm the only one that can protect us from the orange bad man down south. The tariffs and this, and we're gonna meet their tariffs. And like, it wasn't even a week after he was elected that he was already like backtracking and he repealed the tariffs. So I don't trust that shitbird as far as I can throw him. And I think he's running scared everywhere he's going. He went to China, right? China is supposed to be our friend, our yellow friend from the East. He went to China and he came back with more tariffs than they already had in place when he went there. So, this guy, to say that he's shit in the bed left, right, and center is really an understatement. He's a joke. J.D. Vance on X recently, hammered him. The American political machine, they like Canada. Russia, for God's sake. I don't know if this is true, but I was reading somewhere today that Putin was warning Trump. You guys better keep an eye on Canada because it's a failed state, and we're getting there. It's Eastern Canada for sure. Look at Toronto. Carney's proudly boasting, Toronto, the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, is over 50% non-Canadians. And sounds good, unless you do a cursory Google search and see what their crime statistics are, that their murder rates have skyrocketed, carjackings, rapes, assault, extortion, everything gone up. Here in Canada, everything, or here in Alberta, everything has gone up. There's no escaping this guy's failed policies. And it's funny, I posted a picture today of me when I was out with the dogs picking up dog shit, and I took a picture and I said, "Oh, look at all the liberal promises that are collecting in the bottom of my recycle bin," because that's what they are. I don't believe anything that they say. I don't believe anything that they plan on doing. I think everything that they're doing is a failed policy. That with their carbon caps, with their with their housing proposals of what they want to do with their everything is failed, doesn't work, failed, garbage, not gonna work. And he's running scared because he knows that people are waking up, and you can only the last thing you want to do is corner an animal, man. A cornered animal becomes a dangerous animal, and I think that there, thankfully, is a groundswell of, at least here in Alberta, patriotic Albertans, in Saskatchewan too, because I think that they've had enough with liberal bullshit from the East as well. So there's this big groundswell of, I'm reluctant to say positivity because, until it happens, don't count your chickens before they hatch. But I'm optimistic. Let's just say that I'm optimistic. What else can I tell you? This is going to be a short one today because I'm kind of antsy to get my my new rig up and going. My friend Mark, who wrote me that killer theme song for my podcast, I butchered his name. I'm going to butcher it again. Milivojevic, I believe is what it is. Mark, if I butchered it again, man, I promise I'll get it. With my new rig up and running, I'm going to have all this. I'm going to have new graphics for the podcast. I'm going to do all sorts of cool shit. But I'm not a tech guy, and it's going to take me a bit. So bear with me. What else can I tell you? Like I said, Christmas is upon us. I can't believe it is only, a month and 2 days away. I'm looking forward to it this year for the first time in a very, very long time. I've always had a love-hate relationship with Christmas. I love the holiday season. I hate the crowds. I hate how commercial Christmas has come. But as I said on my last podcast, if you can believe it, I've been leaning pretty heavy into spirituality, God, the Bible. As a matter of fact, my wife and I, we have been shopping for a church. I'm 57 years old, folks, and the last time I was at church was, I've been to church for funerals and stuff like that. and that has, pretty much gone off without a hitch, except for my head like doing 360s and me puking pea soup and spitting Latin. Kidding. But as far as me going to church as a person of faith, the last time, well, my baptism, I think was the last time. But I've been leaning into this pretty hard. Again, thanks to a few people, most importantly, a man that I guess we started conversing back in 2017. He kind of gave me the timeline of how we met. I've never met this man. Nicest guy. Very devout. And, man, very tolerant, because a very devout man, and for most of the time since 2017, I've probably been saying some pretty horrendous things that he held dear or believed in, right? So he sent me another email just yesterday and kind of gave me a timeline of how he met, and he says that he prays for me by name, like regularly, like every night. And man, like, what do you say to that? Like, how humbling and how touching, a person that you've never met, but prays for my salvation or for my well-being. It's touching. And I hope to one day make him proud of the journey that he has started me on, for lack of a better word, because that's what he did. We talk. I don't want to say we talk regularly, but we talk often about the Bible. He tells me, read this and look into this, and here's what I think about that. And for a guy like me that has had a strong aversion to it, for him to, keep his nose to the grindstone and I don't want to say coax me along, but have the faith that, this guy's going to see the light, man. He's going to see the light. Jerry, if you're listening, and I know that you are because you listen all the time, man, I so appreciate your kindness and your guidance. I can't even articulate, how much of a positive influence that you're having on my life. As I was saying, Tanya and I were church shopping, and one of the I'm pretty steadfast in certain things that I am looking for in the church. I was baptized Catholic, being Italian. My father was Italian. My mother was German. I was baptized Catholic. So what I am looking for is I want a traditional church. I don't want one of these pro LBGTQ alphabet things. As a matter of fact, when I think it was Pope Francis, before he cashed out, he was talking about, oh yeah, we need to accept them, and I'm okay with gay marriage and stuff like that. I wasn't even a faithful person at that point, but when I heard that, I thought, wow, like, that's gotta be an affront to God's word. No, it says right in the Bible, right? It says right in the Bible. So does that make me homophobic? I really don't give a shit what you think. If I'm going to church and I'm going to put my faith in this pastor or this process, if you will, it's going to be a traditional one. I am not looking for, I'm not looking for a church that espouses this, that they're okay with it. Acceptance is one thing, you know, but I want a more traditional experience. So so that's what's going on in my life. Christmas is around the corner. I'm going to wish everybody, especially those that I think it might offend, I'm going to wish those people an extra fucking Merry Christmas. Because I don't care. I feel that Christianity is being attacked. I believe that I believe that this is part and parcel by design and by plan. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't for a second believe it's coincidental that Germany, Spain, Australia, Britain, Canada, the United States, I don't believe for 1 second that that these once great countries are being overrun by coincidence. I think it's part and parcel, as I said, by design. And if I'm going to go out, I'm going out swinging, kids. I'm not going out on my knees, man. And again, I'm at the 41-minute mark. I'm kind of rambling on here because as I'm looking around the studio, I'm like going, okay, this is going to go here and that's going to go there and that's going to go here. I'm pretty excited to get the new rig up and running. So I apologize if this episode 21 is one of my lackluster episodes, but I got so much stuff going on in my brain and what I want to do and what I want the future of this podcast to be that that I'm kind of rambling incoherently at this point, and because I just want to get off of here and hook up my new toy. So anyway, folks, Christmas. If you're a Christian, celebrate it. Be loud, be proud, and if anybody doesn't like it, you know, tell them to take a long, hard suck on the piscia deal. For my Italian friends, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, guys, love one another. Be safe out there. Stay vigilant. And we will talk to you next Sunday, hopefully with the new rig, hopefully with some new shit that you can see, and hopefully taking the podcast to the next level. So, again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to my studio in the foothills of the Rockies for Truth Y2K or Y2R, whatever the fuck you are, trolling me still. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks again for all your support. Thanks for your kind words. Mark, I promise your tune is going to be up come hell or high water. I got nothing else to say. 43 minutes I've been rambling. Folks, you have yourself a great week ahead. I bet it's snowing outside. I can hear the pups running around outside, so I think they're playing in the snow already. Anyway, folks, love one another, be kind to one another, stay vigilant, and we will talk to you next Sunday. See ya!